All right, I'm embarking on a new journey, dude. A new year, a new journey.
Welcome to the Hop Reel.
I'm embarking on a new journey, as I said. It's going to be for a project called Super Action 52. It's going to be a website and a series of small games on the Super Nintendo. It's based on, as you may or may not be guessing, the notorious game Action 52 by Active Enterprises. Uh, just look at this is some footage of it from AVGN. Right, it's bad. It's not good. It's not good. It's the person who made it or financed it at least. He saw his son using a multi-cart on illegally copied games on it, and he decided to finance one, and he paid these people like it was like $1,000 for people over the course of like 4 months to basically reproduce, make not reproduce, but to make 52 games. So what am I doing? Super Action 52. So I'm gonna make it's inspired by this. Let me go here. These are not done yet. I'm trying to finish these before I have a class called Interactive and Experience Design, and we did a project called An Individual, where I was, as an individual, the AI, and the students prompted me and decided the assets for these games. And the background's not loading, right? But this was one. There's some issues with the collision here I have to fix. Actually, sorry, let me full screen. So I basically have to fix a couple things. The other one needs more love, but actually I have to fix the game looping. So there's some issues with the collisions here I have to fix, and one of the people asked if it could be a standalone app, and then I was going to use that as an excuse to learn how to make an Electron app, even though there's aspects of it that are philosophically incongruent with things that I believe in, but I think it's not a terrible way to just like turn a web app into a program executable. So does this go? So this one has sound. I have to do the AI. These actually don't do anything. There's betting graphics that changed. I changed a bunch of stuff. So why this is not done is because a number of things happened at the end of the semester for me. I got food poisoning in a very short span of time. It was 1 week I had food poisoning, and then this website that you're looking at is made with Next.js and React, and I was a victim of the RCE exploit. There was some like crypto shit, or like I noticed it was like my website was updating erratically, and then I went on. I used DigitalOcean, and I was on there, and it was like the CPU is at 100%. I was like, what the flip is going on? And then I heard about this exploit, and I had to do some sysadmin stuff, that I was not comfortable doing. I had to fix myself. And then I got sick after the semester ended, so that was like 3 weeks worth. And then my mother-in-law was staying with us during the holidays. These are not excuses. I'm just saying what happened. So now I'm kind of back on the ball. It's a new year. I'm exercising again. Running again, waking up at 4 a.m. again. So things are kind of sick, but I have to get this stuff going. So Super Action 52 is going to be a website. Right now, I just made a React thing, a Next website. There's nothing going on here. I'm going to probably just for this week, just make like the most minimal website I can. That links to the ROM. So this is straight up I just changed the default page in React in Next. So basically this website, ProfessorBenjamin.biz, is Next website that I wanted to kind of learn more what was going on. I did this thing where I kind of learned React, and then I used ChatGPT too much, and I was kind of under the the time pressures of the semester and my commute, which is non-negligible. So the cool thing about this is I'll just open how it looks locally. The cool thing about this is the main thing I wanted was this is that game I was looking at before. The main thing I wanted was to basically I'm just taking these these markdown files, and then the the website is editing them so that they look like kind of like nice ish web pages, right? And it has this. We go to a page that has more like a project page that has more stuff on it, right? It does these. You can navigate through the subheaders, which I don't know. For me, that's pretty cool. And it has this progress meter thing, which I like a lot. I think I have to change the easing on this. I made it too drags too much back. So it converts that into this HTML. I would like to do a little bit more robust stuff with the how do you say the front matter. And then I'm not going to look at it here because it involves people's grades, but it uses SQLite for a database to show people their grades, because there's like a very small piece of private-ish information that each student needs to add to access their grades rather than logging in, and I don't want to show that right now. But that uses a real database for that, and then everything else is just markdown files. So the issue with this is I added some other stuff too. Hold on. Let me show this. I added this thing. This uses WebSockets. If I duplicate this, you can see that it's like kind of working. So you can see there should be two cursors. If I edit stuff, you can see that it's on one window, and you can see this. There's a cursor here, and then there's two cursors. And then if I don't know what happened. I think I just deleted the page without thinking. So I have this. It was just for this device that I use in class called the Circuit Playground Express, and I do a thing called Hot Potato, where we have to do an exercise, like people have to do parts of it all together. I did this thing just for like sometimes like messages I need to do. I wanted to add some kind of presentation thing that I haven't added yet. I want to make this a little bit more robust, and then this was just some Research tools that I added. This makes contact sheets, and then I think these all work correctly when you can like export. You can combine different channels in different ways, so you can do like this. I think it's I don't know. People were saying it doesn't work exactly how they imagine it to, but I have to confirm that is or is not working. Or I used it for something and it worked fine. So I have all these tools on here, and the issue is that I kind of vibe coded myself into a place where I don't know what's going on anymore. So I want to use this SuperAction 52 project to kind of relearn Next.js in a way where I know what's going on in a deeper way, or I feel I have more agency. So just kind of work on the site super slowly, and and then as things are going, and then add stuff. And then so the cool thing is there's this thing called emulator.js. It's just their website, but this is just controller moving a sprite. Okay. So there's this where you can put what is this? It's you can include I don't know, it's like RetroArch or something. It's WebAssembly through JavaScript or something. You can put emulators on your website. So I would like to link to the emulators for each ROM, right? And then eventually make a big ROM where they all are together. So I am going to make these for the Super Nintendo, and I think I had a point where I was going to do I don't know. I got to a point where I was doing Pong. Sorry, this is the debugging emulator. So I feel like it loads all this stuff on the side and the graphics stuff. I basically finished this. This is like effectively. I think maybe there was like some stuff with depending on where you hit it with the paddle, but I think the collisions were working. I think there's some internal tracking of the points. I think maybe the thing I have to do is add sound and then how do you say like add text or something? But it was mostly working. I don't know why. So I think I was in graduate school at the time, so maybe thought like making a Super Nintendo game is not the priority. So I had that. That was like its control. Like that was. This is the thing. It shows like the control is working. Interaction, collisions. This is another thing. This collisions and sound. So I did have sound going. Okay, so I have SPC code collision. So why am I saying this? Is because I want to start with as simple as possible. The game is called Jupiter Scope. And then there is a similar game called Meteor on the Genesis Action 52. So I tried to actually play through this. It was terrible. And so basically, I'm going to make it even simpler. In this game, you can go all around the screen just to make it so you can only go back and forth. And then I just need, I guess I need to track the points. And like by that, I'm going to need to like have text to convert the memory value into numbers. And then I just need a sprite coming out of this sprite when you press the button. And then I need just like enemy sprites to come out and then to fall from the top. There's no real movement logic. And then basically constrain the movement of this player to the, how do you say, the screen. And then have a background. And this one I'm going to at least have no scrolling. So I'm going to start with that. Right, there are things I want to add to it. So there's like the buildings, you have to defend the buildings, like Space Invaders, and maybe some like asteroid stuff where these break apart, or maybe there's like different. I had an idea where there's like different like minerals on the asteroids, and you have to kind of like they can become power ups, or maybe there's like astronauts on bigger asteroids, and they're like adding bombs to it, and you gotta like deploy them and like rescue them or something like that. But for now, I'm gonna start with Jupiter Scope, right? And then I'm going to do, there's another game called Spreadfire. The Spreadfire has, I guess I wanted to do a scrolling background, but this has like some illusion. This is kind of like, I guess maybe it seems as though maybe they played Galaga or something. And there's something approximating enemy patterns. So I would like to have more complex enemy patterns. Maybe there's like sinusoidal, or maybe there's like stuff like Galaga where they like move together and then break off, stuff like that. And probably will have like the background scrolling, but has no relationship to what you actually do on screen. But there's all these tools like so that SNES has a very specific palette. So in order to, it's like 5 bits per, it's RGB, but 5 bits per channel. And the channels are not RGB, they're like RBG or BRG or something like this. So part of it is that you need to convert the graphics. To I think you need to save it in a way where it will save for the Super Nintendo. And then you need to save it in a specific way out of Photoshop. I think I have this in make the graphic. Then I'm like using this stuff. Yeah, PCX2 NES. And then I get the graphic out. And then I put it in this file. And then I explain what's going on. And then I show this one. So what I'm trying to say is this. I have all these old tools that I would like to convert to something like Pillow, which is a Python library. And then I also have to convert. This is another video where I was using Sublime Text at the time. I had this build system, and so I have to like, get this stuff working in VS Code, which seems like it's not hard. And then I have to add. I had this like TextMate is where this TM comes from. It's syntax highlighting for 65.816 assembly, which is Super Nintendo. So all it looks like it still uses these, so I can just like bring this into VS Code and it'll work. So I have to figure that stuff out. Right. So the thing I have to do is the annoying part is one, I just have to like initialize the system, right? So there's that, it's the init, and then I have to remember what the high ROM and low ROM actually means. And then I have to get the sprites showing, or I guess, yeah, I have to display a background, right? So I've already done that. Right, so then I have to like add the sprite and make it controllable, right? And then I think it will be pretty trivial to just like make the other sprite just go down and then check for collisions. I guess I have to collide with the, whatever it's the laser thing. There may be some issues with how many sprites are there at the same time. That may be a thing. And then have sound for like the pew pew and then the asteroid breaking apart. And then probably some animation for that. So it's like not a ton of stuff, but it is a non-zero amount. So okay, so this is my plan right now. I don't have all the folders here. I was going to do Jupiter Scope, Spread Fire, and then probably one where I'm probably going to do, if you've ever played Legend of the Mystical Ninja, it's like the control scheme of Robotron. It's like up, down, left, right, and then like the XYBA buttons here. So probably will make a couple of simpler games, right, after these two, or at least don't involve like collisions or scrolling or whatever, like simple single screen games, right? And then I will, while that's happening, I will make some kind of like a tile map interpreter or something like this, so that I can do something like, so Life Force, right? There's background scrolling, you know, there's tiles for the sprite, there's repeated sprites in the background, they're just getting tiled. And then you have like, and it says a sinusoidal pattern. These like, you know, I guess they come out when they detect you past a certain point. Right, so I have to like scroll the background. I have to figure out how to do that and then also load that from a tile map, which exactly that I have not done on the Super Nintendo. So, and then the ultimate thing, kind of, I think that probably the most complex is something like the Cheetah Men game. There's a couple kind of full featured. I mean, obviously, the Cheetah Men. You just find a long play. So these have, it's like big multi-part sprites in theory. This is like kind of isometric-ish. I think it's not always. There's enemies, there's collisions, there's jumping, there's, you know, rudimentary physics stuff, collision detection. So in theory, these are more complicated. So I would kind of like say, once I have the tile thing, then I would do something like this. And so my goal is not to do every Action 52 game exactly. So there's a number of things why I would like to not do that. One is a lot of them are bad. I think there is a lot of them are bad. I think there's some idea that there's the majority of them are shooters. I think that I did the calculations and it's like 20 out of 52, which is approaching half, depending on how, like, I think I didn't count this here, but technically this is a shooter as well. And so, you know, I would like to just avoid, I think it's less than people remember there being, but there are a non-negligible amount of shooter games and a non-negligible amount of these, like, whatever, I don't know, bad platforming games. So my thought would be to do something like Action 52 manual. If you look at some of the, take an example here. First of all, this manual is so bad. It was clearly like not copy edited by anyone at all. What number is Crazy Shuffle? Crazy Shuffle, right? So Crazy Shuffle says educational puzzle game, picture matching with many levels, games, and options. Test memory and concentration skills. So, but if we do Action 52, right, this is clearly not picture matching game, right? So this is like 52 small games they made in like the course of 3 or 4 months, is what I've heard. So clearly there were some corners that were cut, or it's like entire things that were cut. But so there's some things where I would like to do what the manual intimates it is, or there's a couple of things where there's like almost abstract. What was the one? Space Dreams. What does it say? It says, there is a black hole, and on the other side are all your space dreams. You must get past all of the obstacles to enter the hole and realize your dreams. I think it'd be cool to do something kind of like more abstract for that, like about what it means to like go through a hole into your dreams or something, or what is a space dream? Like that's a crazy thing to just write down. So and then as you might imagine, Space Dreams is not. I said the baby one. It's just a shooter game where you play as a pacifier, and this is not space. The poeticness of what that description evokes. So there's some things like that, and there's some games that are just like too bad, like this non-human thing. Non-human. So again, I'm not doing exactly one-to-one these games, right? Like this is, what do you do with this? It's like Devin Townsend portraits, and then this weird triangle man. And then I'm seeing this. There were a couple of projects where people were trying to make like cool versions of some of these games. This Action 52 owns. And there was like an Action 53. So my goal is to just make the games fun. My goal is to just make the games fun, and to kind of do as many. I want to kind of like. Ideally, I would have all the games be kind of like. If you've played the Fly Swatter game, if you played the Fly Swatter game from Mario Paint, this is obviously has the idiosyncrasy of it using the mouse, but I believe this is like 4 levels, and then it just gets increasingly difficult. Or like I think it maybe just adds more enemies and gets like slightly faster. It's a premise and just kind of loops. There's a certain amount of times it will loop. I would like to have them all be like that, or like kind of like takes on different games. Like I like to do a Mode 7 thing. I would like to do like there's no racing games on this one. I'm not like a sports guy, but it'd be cool to have like maybe kind of like maybe not sports games, but like Heavy Smash. Yeah, this thing. This is basically like football, dodgeball variant thing that I thought was cool. So this weird, like, I guess it's gladiatorial. Futuristic gladiatorial state. But first we're going to start with Jupiter Scope. We're going to start with the Jupiter Scope variant, and then I will update how that went, and then there you go. The place we got to was here, and it has most of the things. I think that's the thing I need to fix, but so there's sprites. The sprites, this sprite is locked to the edge of the screen. I forgot the buttons I used. There's a bullet. The ship can collide with this, the meteor, and then start to speed up eventually. So I'm declaring that the first version. Yeah. So I have to get a little more done with like making the sprites animated and the sound and stuff. And then truthfully, I don't like the way, I don't think the bullet aesthetic matches the meteor aesthetic, and then the buildings are not working for me, and then I kind of have this lingering feeling that I might just change the aesthetic of everything totally, but I think I shouldn't just restructure things in the immediate or like that. But anyway, so why I didn't get all the way exactly where I want it to be is because I forgot about assembly programming. So there's a couple of things. Main thing being I need to figure out how to do like something akin to like a for loop. So there's this part. Where is it? There's parts like this. This. Even the conditional logic is a bit confusing for me. I forgot the whole bit. Branch on carry, set, carry clear. I forgot that stuff. It's not sticking, and then there's also like bit flags, which I can't internalize yet. But so there's this where I'm just like looping through these sprites because I'm like, this should be something akin to a for loop, and I believe you can do that with like the X and Y registers. I have to like look up how to do that. And then there's a couple of things. There's some things where there's random explosions because of how I think it's part of how the joypad code is processed, and then getting used to how it works with things being on and off screen is a little bit annoying because you change the X but you don't change the actual. You just set some kind of a flag, or I need to like account for that flag being set that makes it appear off screen. So there's stuff like this where there should be kind of like a loop of some kind. I need to figure that stuff out, and then how to do like subroutines that are closer to functions. I don't know if that's a macro, but for example, I have two. Like I have this to show the explosion sprite for when a bullet and a meteor hit, and then this when the ship and a meteor hit. So that would be closer to like a function, and getting used to like this stuff. So I did this kind of jankily where it's 32 by 64, but I could easily do two 32 by 32 sprites and make that easier. And then the issue is everything's tied to these specific sprites. So I need to make some kind of code that's, if there were multiple meteors, be agnostic. And then the other thing is, I just put it's hard to tell here because it doesn't, you can't tie it to a specific palette, but there's, I just have this whole background in there, not tiled. So ideally I could do something like, this is one group of tiles, and then these could be kind of tiles that are twinkling. Then eventually I like these to be like, to show damage, but I think they need to be like front on, and they need to have a different kind of style. I don't know if that wanted to be like techno buildings or whatever, but so there's that. So that's the thing where I need to like work on some kind of tooling for that, and then making the sprites themselves was a pain in the ass because it's Photoshop doesn't export. It's harder to control the palettes when you export stuff, and then I don't know. I feel like Photoshop used to be able to generate PCX files, but in order to use the tools I have, one of which is called PCX2NES, which is a command line tool, I have to use a website. It's a different one than I used in the video that I made a long time ago. So it's kind of annoying. So ideally, I would make some kind of like a pixel editing tool where I could have more control over the palettes and stuff, and then that would probably have something to do with the tile mapping tool. So there's that. But anyway, this is where I'm at, and then I think the next thing I'm going to do next week is one of two things. So the plan I had was to make, there's a game called Spreadfire. So there's enemy patterns. So I wanted to do one with enemy patterns, and I think the thing I wanted to do was focus on like all the sprites being the same size, even the ship and the bullets. And then we're focusing on the enemy patterns. But I think what I might want to do is something like this. And they make this electronic version of Tic-Tac-Toe. And it's cool because it has a memory mode where you can't have more than 3 X's or O's on the screen at the same time. So I think I might do something like kind of super simple game-wise, but then focus on getting like sprites animated, working better, and stuff like this, and then not have to worry about like the logic of collision code. So I think Might do something like that where I can focus on like finishing a more complete thing and working on the code base. And then maybe make the sprites for Spreadfire and then have that kind of ready to go. That's it.